Attention bowlers, we are going to get started. Welcome to Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire for another exciting and thrilling Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour match. Hello everyone, my name is Steve Kelly. It's going to be a doubleheader this evening. John Dumais at Metivier and Charles Park at Dave LaRoche. It's great to have you along with us here at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. We're going to get right into the bowling immediately here. We're going to begin with Dave LaRoche and Charles Park. And there's Dave LaRoche already with a strike. He's starting out hot already. I can't believe it. We're not even out of the intros, and a strike has already been thrown. What a match this is already. All right, Charles Park, he started out with a 4-drop. And he's working on it. Left with the high-low jack 1-7-10. We'll get you a replay of Dave's very fast opening salvo of a strike in just a moment here. As soon as I can get set up and finish my intro spiel with you. Hold on a sec. Let's get a replay going. Hey, there's me. It was that fast. Watch this. Dave LaRoche throws a strike out of the gate. How's that for an opening ball? Here's Dave LaRoche on the follow-up. That's not a strike. Okay. That's a 4-drop for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park, on the other hand, will take 3 out. This is a head-to-head match this evening. It is Charles Park versus Dave LaRoche in Class C North, and John Dumais and Metivier waiting in the wings as part of our second half of our doubleheader. That's a 16 in the first for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park, no mark. That rhymes. Dave LaRoche, though, will take a 10-box for 26 after 2. Mr. Charles Park will take a 9 for 16 after 2. And let's quickly get some scores up on the scoreboard here for you. All right. Okay, so let's continue our intro because we started out so fast. Welcome to the Expanse that has 3-ball spare. Welcome back to Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's a doubleheader this evening. You're watching Charles Park at Dave LaRoche and John Dumais at Metivier. It's great to have you along with us. That's a 3-drop for LaRoche and a 5 split for Charles Park. Dave LaRoche on the head pin on the second ball. He's the 5, the 7, and the 10. Charles Park, he'll take the accordion out on the left with the assistance of some wood. And that's about it. Dave LaRoche is working on the 5, 7, 10 for a nice 10-box cleanup for 36 and 3. And Charles Park will take a 9 for 25 after 3. And those scores are confirmed. Anyways, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour brought to you by 3-ball spare conglomerate. This match was played on Friday, December 5th, 2025. The match format, 5 strings, 14 points on offer, 2 points per string, 4 for total pinfall. If there is a tie, the points are evenly split. If you've never seen Candlepin bowling, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you and hope you enjoy what you're watching today. This is a unique take on bowling from the heart of New England and Eastern Canada. It's a 5-drop for LaRoche and a 3-drop for Charles Park. Dave LaRoche, 1-7-10, 2-6, leaves the 6, 7, and 10. Charles Park, it's a working box. He's got a 6-pack left side. Dave LaRoche for the 10-box. See if he can get 3 in a row here. He'll settle for an 8. That's 44 and 4. Charles Park will miss wide left for a 4-box, leaving the 6-pack on the deck. That's 29 after 4 for Charles Park, 44 after 4 for Mr. Dave LaRoche. This broadcast should have subtitles and live captioning available. If you would like to enable them, please consider the transcript feature if you're watching this later on from YouTube. During the match, I'll provide the play-by-play action and on-stream scoring to the best of my ability. The numbers on your screen are unofficial as always. The bowlers maintain the authority on the scores separately on their own. There's a 3-drop for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park will drop 6, leaving the center diamond. Dave LaRoche on the head pin after the 3-drop in the back right corner leaves the 2 diamond. It's the 1 diamond for Charles Park, and he blows up 3 of the 4 off the diamond. Dave LaRoche will take a 7, 51 and 5. Charles Park, there's the 10 for 39 and 5. Let's get you your first score update of the evening. It's going to be 39 after 5 for Charles Park, 51 after 5 for Dave LaRoche, and those scores are confirmed. That's our matchup 1 of 2 of our doubleheader this evening. Coming up next, we have John Dumais and Metivier down on lanes 23 and 24 at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. say hello to them for the first time this evening. It'll be Paul Metivier on your right leading off. And Paul will start out with a 6-drop. John Dumais. That's a 2-drop, awkwardly. Just the 2 and the 4 taken out, and that's it. Metivier runs down the 4 horsemen for a spare. Nice job. Dumais pokes a few more. It's a working box. One, 7, 10, 6, 5, 8 for John Dumais as he sails into the ocean. That's a 4 box for John Dumais. Here's Paul Metivier's spare in case you missed it. Runs down those 1, 2, 4, 7 horsemen. No problem. And here's the follow-up. Here's Paul Metivier with a strike. Clocking in. Strike on spare. And there's a 5 split for John Dumais. Two marks already for Paul Metivier. John Dumais has a working box. Check mark inverted left side in the 10. Dumais. He'll leave the 5 and the 10. John Dumais, who recently bowled for the first time in the International Candlepin Championships Men's Worlds 2025. He bowled for teams Stars and Strikes up in Moncton, New Brunswick. And my team faced him on either the 3rd or the 4th day. It was the first match of the day. That's 12 after 2 for John Dumais and 30 in a bonus for Paul Metivier. Paul Metivier on the head pin again, and it's a 9-drop. A great 9-drop on the head pin. And that's a 6 split for John Dumais. Paul Metivier might have a layup of a spare here. Home Depot down there. And he sure does. There's a spare on strike for Paul Metivier. John Dumais leaves the 3 and the 9. John will leave the 9 for a 9 for 21 after 3. If in the off chance you like this content, I encourage you to consider subscribing to this channel to help us grow. That's the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page on Facebook. And there is a triangle for Paul Metivier and a 6 split for John Dumais. That's the 2, 4, 5 for Paul Metivier. He'll miss the object. Dumais, 4, 6, 2, 10. Will he get it? He wanted to get the left sidewall. Couldn't quite get it to cooperate. Leaves the 6 and the 10. Metivier will take a nice 10 box for a 67 pinfall total after 4. Going to go down to check a lane, a pin down there on the lane, courtesy of Dave LaRoche. Might be out. We'll verify in just a moment if it's actually out. I'd say it's 50-50. Survey says it's out. Thank you, Dave LaRoche, for taking care of that. So, with that, that'll be an 8 box for Mr. John Dumais, 29 after 4. I guess we'll talk about Paul Metivier first. We'll talk about bowlers on lane 24. He has a season record of 28 and 28 with 4 matches played, an away record of 26 and 16, and a home record of 2 and 12. There's a split for Paul Metivier and an 8-drop. John Dumais with another split, his 3rd split in a row with spread eagle 4-drop. That's the 8 and the 10 for Paul Metivier. What you kind of want to do, here's my pretend ball. Aim for that. See, just like that, but not quite in that way. That reaction from Paul Metivier was priceless. And on the eagle, John Dumais will poke the 6. And Metivier will take a 9 for a 76 half and a 5 for John Dumais for a 34 half. Paul Metivier having one heck of a start. 76 after 5. John Dumais 34 after 5. That's a difference of 42. And then Charles Park 39 after 5. Dave LaRoche 51 after 5. Coming up next, it's going to be Dave LaRoche and Charles Park to continue the second half of the first game. There's Charles Park on the right. He begins with a 6 drop. 4 horsemen right side. And then it will be Dave LaRoche with a Kaleri left side 5 drop. Charles Park 1, 3, 6, 10 with an orange pin, head pin, and he'll connect with the 1 and the 3 and leave the 6 and the 10. LaRoche, left side Kaleri, he's on the pocket. Leaves the 7 and the 9. It was a good hit, just an awkward split, awkward mix. Charles Park will take an 8. That's 47 and 6. Dave LaRoche has got to shoot at the 7 or the 9. Probably cap the wood on the 9 for your best bet. Take at least 1 stick, and he'll take neither. He'll take an 8, 59 and 6 for Dave LaRoche. Let's talk about Charles Park. He has a season record after 5 matches of 33 and 37. When he's on the road, he's 33 and 37. Yet to bowl any home matches. Charles Park bowls out of Metro Bowl in Peabody, Massachusetts, with a season average of 100.5. Home average TBD. High single 126, high series 553. 6 drop again for Charles Park. Dave LaRoche drops 8 eventually. Park. Oh my goodness, on the 4 horsemen, he somehow leaves the 4 pin. Dave LaRoche is chopping wood as well. Charles Park will take a 10 box for 57 and 7. Dave LaRoche will take a 9 for 68 and 7. Charles Park has 13 strikes, 47 spares, 39 tens for the season, a 39.2 perfect box percentage, and 2,514 seasonal pinfall. Here's Charles Park on the head pin. He'll drop 7 and split 7 so far. Dave LaRoche is on the head pin. He'll drop 8. 3 and 9. We have a piece of wood that might be out of play again. The line usually is lined up with the light at Lakeside. Is probably out. John Dumais will do the honors. And it looks like it's actually in. Well, that's interesting. Well, so here's my analysis on this. You might want to hit it probably from this side or maybe this side. Probably the right side this is more likely to shoot at. Let's see what Charles Park does. Went a little bit off too much to the right. 3 and 9 for Dave LaRoche. Connects with the wood, gets deflected all away from the 3, takes the 9. 5 and 6 for Charles Park. Oh, see, yeah, he hit the left side of that wood, and that was what I was worried about would happen. 9 for Park, 10 for LaRoche. 78 and 8 for Dave LaRoche, 66 and 8 for Charles Park. Charles Park, second place in his division, 9th in the wild card. There's Mr. Park. He'll split 6. Dave, 1-2 pocket, drops 9 lightly. Charles Park, off to the left on the 7. LaRoche, goodbye. That's a spare for Dave LaRoche on the single, and that's a 7 for Charles Park. It's currently 88 in a bonus in the 9th for Dave LaRoche, confirmed, and 73 in the 9th for Charles Park. Charles on the head pin, leaves the 5 and the 9. Drops 8. Dave, he'll mix down 6. Center check mark. A big 16 in the 9th for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park, he's got a spare. It's his first of the game, first of the match. Dave LaRoche on the 1-3 pocket. And will the 2 go? The 2 is largely glued to the ground. Wiggles but doesn't fall. Charles Parks looking at 83 and a bonus in the 10th, but Dave LaRoche will clinch the first game. There's a 9 for Dave LaRoche. That's 103 for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park, 83 and a bonus. He can get to a maximum of 93 with a 10 fill on the spare. And that will be a 4 fill for Mr. Charles Park for an 87 first game. Score update on them. That's a difference of 16 in Dave LaRoche's favor. Takes the first game 103 to Charles Park's 87. Now back to Paul Metivier and John Dumais here at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. It's great to have you along. John Dumais will lead off. He's in the navy blue on the right side on lane 24 from the back camera. Paul Metivier in the lighter blue. And John Dumais will open up on the head pin with a 7 drop. Paul Metivier will take a 6 drop. Dumais misses off to slightly to the left of the 3-pin object pin. Paul Metivier wants to run down the 4 horsemen but misses the head pin and leaves the head pin. Dumais will take the 9 for 43 and 6. And there's a 9 for Metivier for 85 and 6. Let's talk about John Dumais, who has a season record of 33 and 23 with 4 matches played. Away, he's 30 and 12. At home at Riverwalk, he's 3 and 11 as of right now. There's a 7 drop for John Dumais. He missed the head pin, but it didn't matter much. Paul Metivier with a 1 drop, a quarter Worcester on the 2. John Dumais got the 137 he's shooting at now. John Dumais has a season average of 109.9 and away average of 113.9, a home average of 97.8. And there's a spare for John Dumais clocking in with that one. And Paul Metivier on the quarter Worcester, at least a 3.56. John Dumais has a high single of 151, a high series of 646. That is wild. He has 9 strikes, 47 spares, 50 tens, a 52.5 perfect box percentage, and 21.98 seasonal total pins. There is an 8 box for Paul Metivier. Let's look at the replay for John Dumais now. 137. That was a spare. Here's the follow-up. For the fill, John Dumais on the head pin. He'll drop 6. Right side check mark. Big 16 for John Dumais. Paul Metivier off to the right. Mixes down 6. Could have been way worse, but he got a good mix. 1, 2, 6, and 10. It's the 3, 5, 6, 10 for John Dumais. John Dumais punches a little bit too full. Leaves the 6 and the 10. Paul Metivier. There's a nice spare for Paul Metivier. A nice erudite spare, 103 and a bonus in the 8th. And Dumais will clean up for a 10 for 69 and 8. Let's watch that spare by Paul Metivier. Not that one, this one. Nice clean shot on the outside of the pocket. That's how we like them, clean like that. It's beautiful. Here's John Dumais. 1-3 pocket, 6 drop, check mark. Metivier, just a little bit off to the right of the head pin. He'll take a 4 fill. 107 and 8. Cleaning up the check mark, John Dumais shows up right at the right moment. 79 to bonus and 9. Paul Metivier wants to clean up his mess as well, but he leaves the 10. Paul Metivier will ride the rail for a 10. Let's have a look at that spare by John Dumais again, though. Left side inverted check mark. Blows them up. Blows up all 4 right on the left side of the pocket. Dumais. That's a fill of 5. Paul Metivier on the 1-3. And he'll take everything down but the 9 pin. John Dumais misses the object, misses everything. Metivier for a spare. He's got one. He's got yet another one. That's a 127 and a bonus. And John Dumais, he'll clean up for a 10. So Paul Metivier will take the first game with a 127 plus to John Dumais' 94. And he'll take a 3 fill off of that. He'll wave that one away for a 130 first game. Score update, 94 to 130 for John Dumais and Paul Metivier, 87 to 103 Charles Park versus Dave LaRoche. And that will be our first game. And it's time to move on to the second game here in just a moment. Watching the ACST. Steve Kelly on the call with you today. Great to have you along. In case you missed it, Paul Metivier beat John Dumais by 36 pins, 130 to John Dumais' 94. Dave LaRoche took the first game 103 plus 16 to Charles Park's 87. We now begin game 2. It's Dave LaRoche on your right. I don't know why I was waiting for my signal. Don't need my signal. He's all good. Dave LaRoche has my permission to start bowling. He starts out with the 2-drop. I say, don't worry about me. You do your thing. Charles Park, ooh, with a 1-drop, quarter Worcester. Dave LaRoche will mix down all but 3 pins. Charles Park and a quarter Worcester. He'll take a couple off the back row on the right side. Back rows of the right side. Dave LaRoche will clean up for a 9. Park. It's like a 4-box, an awkward one. Here's Dave. Oh, and he'll clock in with a spread eagle and a 4-drop. Charles Park, head pin, not much better, a 7-drop in terms of splits. Here's Dave, and it's into the gutter. Park into the ocean. Spare ball's missing. Dave LaRoche on the eagle on the retry. He'll take an extra pin for a 7. And there's a nice, what could have been a spare, but became a 10-box for Charles Park. 14 after 4 for Park, 16 after 2 for Dave LaRoche. Dave LaRoche has a season record of 48 and 36 with 6 matches played. Away, he's 26 and 16. Home, he's 22 and 20 with a season average of 103.4. Away average 106.3. At Lakeside, he averages 100.7. There's a 5-drop for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park, all the while, will mix down 7. Dave LaRoche has a high single of 142, high series 549. 13 strikes, 59 spares, 69 tens, 47% perfect box percentage, and 3104 seasonal pinfall. So far, he's 2nd place in his division and 6th place in the wild card seed. No marks for either bowler here. Dave LaRoche for a 10. He'll get a 10, 26 and 3. Park will take an 8 for 22 and 3. Dave LaRoche and Charles Park are in Class C North. John Dumais and Paul Metivier are in Class B North. This doubleheader at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester this evening. Here's Dave. 1-3 pocket. Mixes down 6. Charles Park, left side, Cleary. Nope, not a Cleary. 4 horsemen now. Dave for the spare, he's got it. And Charles Park is on the object, but leaves the 6 and the 10. 36 and after 4 for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park on the 6 and the 10. Looks like it's going to be a 9-box. Let's watch this shot by Dave LaRoche again. A nice clean hit on the 2, on the left side of the 2. Enough leverage to get to the 10. Here's Dave with a 5. Charles Park with a 7 drop. Triangle with the 2 as the point. 2, 4, 6, 7, 10 for Dave LaRoche. Oh, and he almost spares it up. That was a great attempt. A nice left to right kick. Left to right kick. Charles Park gets a little bit stuffed trying to take the triangle. Sorry, not the diamond, the triangle. Dave LaRoche will take a 10. 51 and 5. Charles Park will take a 9 for 40 and 5. Score update, 40 to 51 is confirmed. Charles Park 40 after 5, 2 for 5 in the headpin with 1 split. David LaRoche 3 for 5 on the headpin. All 3 of those headpin shots were splits for 51 after 5. Coming back up here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, it's going to be John Dumais and Paul Metivier in this head-to-head match this evening. Head-to-head double headers. It's Paul Metivier on your right, who will lead off. Caleri right side for Paul Metivier. John Dumais now. 1-3 pocket. He'll take 8 out. Paul Metivier's a little bit off and leaves the head pin, object pin. John Dumais will miss the 4 to the left. Paul Metivier for a 10. He's got it. Dumais, he's got a 10 as well. 10 after 1 for both. Paul Metivier has a season record of 20 and 28 with 4 matches played. Away, he's 26 and 16. At home at Lakeside Lanes, he's 2 and 12. This is his 3rd season at the ACST. Class B North all 3 years. 2 years at Leda Lanes, this year at Lakeside Lanes. Season average of 105.9 for Paul Metivier. Away average of 108.9. And a home average of 96.8 with a high single of 144 and a high series of 5, 76. There's a 6 drop for Paul Metivier. John Dumais is mixing down 5. It's left side 4 horsemen for both bowlers, but John Dumais has a sleeper in addition to it. Paul Metivier, he will take down those 4 horsemen. John Dumais will continue working on it. And Dumais will make it a nice 9 box for 19 after 2. Let's watch Paul Metivier's spare here. Once again, look at it go, just runs it down. Beautiful shot. Paul Metivier 1-3 pocket, he drops 9 and it's a big 19. And that's a 7 split for John Dumais. 29 after 2 for Paul Metivier. And there's a single spare for Paul Metivier. John Dumais will bean the 6 on the wood and leave the 4 and the 7. Paul Metivier's got a double spare. John Dumais is looking at a 10 box with an 8 box guarantee. He's going to make it an 8. That's 27 after 3 for John Dumais. Here's the single pin spare again for Paul Metivier in case you missed it. Look at that, right on it. And here's the follow-up now. And Metivier will drop 6, leaving the right side accordion. It's a big 16. And John Dumais will drop 9, leaving the 4. Metivier, he'll punch the 5. That's not how you get the Corrado Pani accordion. Corrado Pani shot at the 6 and the 9 to make that go. John Dumais misses the single. Paul Metivier will be shooting for a 10 box. 7 box guarantee. He'll make it a nice 10. That's 55 and 4. John Dumais will make it a 10 for 37 after 4. Here comes Paul. Little left of the head pin. John Dumais to the right. He'll take a Caleri left side.
Ooh, hello, Jack. Let's go. Hello, Jack.
And it's now a high-low jack for Paul Metivier after a mix-down. And for the jack, he takes all but the 10. Dumais for the Caleri, he leaves the 7 and the 9. And Paul, he'll make it a 9 for 64 after 5, and that's a 9 for 46 after 5 for John Dumais. Your score update after 5, it's 46 after 5 and 64 after 5 for John Dumais and Paul Metivier respectively. That's a difference of 18 in Paul Metivier's favor in the game and 54 in the total so far.
Last call on 50-50. Last call. If you want any, come up to the front desk.
And it's the last call for the 50-50 at Lakeside as of right now if you want to come up to the front desk. Here's Charles Park with a 6 drop and a 6 split. And then Dave LaRoche, he's on the head pin as well, but he'll drop 6 to leave the diamond. Charles Park will take the 6 and the 10 and leave the 7 and the 9. Dave LaRoche on the diamond. Diamond Dave. Diamond wins. It's Charles Park. He'll collide with the 9 and leave the 7 for a 9 box. 49 and 6. Dave LaRoche will take 2 and leave 2 for an 8 box for 59 in 6. Charles Park off to the left will take 1 down. And there is a split and a 5 drop for Dave LaRoche. Park on that nose, but a little bit too much on the nose. Dave, he'll take 2 and leave 3. Charles Park, 5 box or greater, he'll make it a 6 for 55 and 7. LaRoche will take an 8 box for 67 and 7. Both bowlers struggling a little bit here. Only 1 mark in Dave LaRoche's favor this game. Dave LaRoche has been all over the head pin, but just hasn't been able to do much with it. Charles Park is 3 for 7 on the head pin with 2 splits this game. Charles Park, he's on the head pin. He'll take 6 out. Dave LaRoche to the right of the head pin, he'll take 6 out as well. But I like Dave's leave better because they're all clustered together. But Charles Park hit it right and it will go, but not quite there. One, 2, 4, 8 for Dave LaRoche. He's just a little bit off. Charles Park looking at the 3-7. He'll take an 8. Having a rough go of it. Dave LaRoche will cut 2 out for a 9. That'll be 76 and 8 for Dave LaRoche and 63 and 8 for Charles Park. Charles Park in his past 5 matches, he's taken 33 points, averaging 6.6 points per match. In his past 5 matches, he's totaled 25-27 total pinfall with 200 matches greater than equal 500 in grand total pinfall. There is a strike for Mr. Charles Park. The strike he's been waiting for. And Dave LaRoche will do the same thing. Strike for strike. That was a quick 9 box completion for both of our bowlers. So we got 2 bowlers on strikes, 73 in a bonus for Park in the 9th and 86 in a bonus for LaRoche in the 9th. The knives are out, the strikes are out. There is a pin stuck in the tubes down there. So how would you shoot at that? Would you bounce the ball up and go boink? I don't know about that. You can see that pin is supposed to be the 8 pin there, but it's not exactly in the correct spot. It got stuck in the tube. The finger didn't open fully when it put the tubes down. So now it's just kind of literally hanging out. So we're just waiting on that for the moment. Let's talk about perhaps some of our bowlers this evening. Let's talk about Mr. Charles Park, who's bowling right now. So again, he has a season record of 33 and 37 with 5 matches played. His longest streak of strings greater than 100 has been 3 so far. His longest streak of matches greater than 500 in total pinfall has been 2. Longest winning streak of greater than 7 points has been only 1 so far. He averages 6.6 points per away match. He's yet to bowl any home matches at Metro Bowl just yet. In his past 5 matches, he's taken 13 strikes, 47 spares, and 39 tens. All the while, then, his opponent, Dave LaRoche. Let's talk about Dave LaRoche for a bit. Again, season record 40 and 36. He's bowled 6 matches this season. His past 5 matches, he's taken 44 points, averaging 8.8 points per match. He's totaled 2630 pins in his past 5. 4 of his matches have been greater than or equal 500 in grand total pinfall. He has 3 games at greater than 100 in terms of his longest streak so far, and he has 4 consecutive matches greater than equal 500 in grand total pinfall, with a streak of 3 in terms of winning streaks. That's consecutive matches with greater than 7 points. He on average takes 8.7 points per away match and 7.3 points per home match. He's taken 12 strikes, 53 spares, and 63 tens in his past 5. And we're still waiting on the lane to reset. I think it is just about to come back, so we're going to prep for some more bowling here. Charles Park also won against Paul Campos in the 2024-2025 ACST finals. That photo of him is actually him with the trophy from this past summer. And thank you, Kevin Davis, who just gave me a hi. Here's Charles Park on a strike. Oh, and it's nearly a double. He'll drop 9. And Dave LaRoche, he'll take 3 down so far. Park on a single. Plays the wood. No dice. The 9 fill. Dave LaRoche will take a spare on strike. The harder shot ends up being the conversion. That'll be a 9 box for Charles Park for a 91 game. And Dave LaRoche, he's got a spare to work on. In fact, let's take a look at this shot by Dave LaRoche. Wow, look at that. In fact, I'll back it up just a second here to get the final word on that. Look at that. But here's the follow-up. He'll take 4 down for a 6-pack. That's a 110 game for Dave LaRoche. Into game 2, 91 for Charles Park, 110 for Dave LaRoche. Dave LaRoche currently at 4 points with a 2-game total of 213. Charles Park 178.
$135. Last 4 numbers of your winning ticket. 5908. 5908.
All right, not to compete with the PA system here. Here's John Dumais. To the right of the head pin, he'll take 6 down. He'll take 7 down, maybe 8 down. It'll be a 7 down. Paul Metivier will take 6 down. Piece of wood way out of play. You can see down there. I think that's out. I believe Dave LaRoche is going to go do the honors once again. While we wait for that, here, let's take a look at John Dumais' stats. John Dumais, season record 33 and 23, currently 2nd place in his division, 7th place in the wild card seed. In his past 4 matches, he's totaled 33 points, averaging 8.25 points per match, taken 2173 pins in his past 4 matches, and 1 match so far over 500. His longest streak of matches greater than 100 has been 5. Longest streak of matches over 500 in grand total pinfall has been 1. Longest winning streak of greater than 7 points has also been 1. But he's only bowled a few matches so far, so don't worry about that too much. For the spare shot, he leaves the head pin. For Paul Metivier, he leaves the 6. No marks for either bowler. John Dumais will fire for the 10. He'll miss it for the 9, 55 and 6. Metivier gets deflected for a 9 for 73 and 6. While we're on the subject, let's talk about Paul Metivier as well. Paul Metivier with a 28-28 season record. 3rd place in his division, 10th place in the wild card. 11 strikes, 35 spares, 44 tens with a per box percentage of 45%. Here's John Dumais. He'll hit the head pin. Drops 7. Paul Metivier on the head pin. Will drop 6 and split 6. John Dumais got the center triangle on the 5 pin, 5, 8, 9. And he'll take the 5 and the 8 and leave the 9. 3, 7, 9, 10 for Paul Metivier next. Hit the wood, get a deflection, leave the 3, the 9, and the 10. Dumais for a 10, he's got it. 65 and 7. 3, 9, 10 for Paul Metivier, and he'll take one out for an 8 box for 81 and 7. John Dumais on the 7 pin and takes one out. Metivier just a little bit off the head pin, but gets a mix of 7. Dumais mixes down a few more. Metivier misses everything into the ocean. John Dumais will take a nice 10 box out of that. 75 and 8. Paul Metivier will take a 9 box for 90 and 8. Here's John. He'll take 5 out, big check mark. Paul Metivier will take 5 out as well, but he was on the head pin. John Dumais with a bouncy ball. It goes a little bit off course. You could tell that he looked down there and something was not right. Paul Metivier, and he'll take 3 and leave 2. Dumais on the big check mark. Punches, 6 box. 81 and 9. Metivier will take a 10 box for 109. John Dumais on the 1-2 pocket with an orange head pin. He'll drop 6 and leave a diamond. Paul Metivier will punch 2 for a half Worcester. Dumais will miss everything. Metivier's on the 1-3 and leaves the 5. It was a great offer. John Dumais will take an 8 for 89. 89 game 2 for a 2-game total of 183, and Paul Metivier will take a 10 for a 110 for a 2-game total of 240. Game 2 is done. Paul Metivier takes the second game, and Dave LaRoche takes the second game. The home bowlers have it all as of right now. 240 for Metivier, 213 for LaRoche, 183 for Dumais, 178 for Charles Park. And that is the story for game 2. Time to move on to game number 3 here on the ACST. Dave LaRoche and Charles Park on deck. Dave LaRoche in particular would like to let you know, and the back of his shirt would like to let you know, that he is sponsored by the Alamo, Texas Barbecue and Tequila Bar, located in Brookline, New Hampshire on 99 Route 113. The great Dominic Mariano in charge over there, and he does a great job with that. He once hosted a buffet here at Lakeside Lanes with all the food, and it was fantastic. So do check it out. The Alamo, Texas Barbecue and Tequila Bar on 99 Route 113 in Brookline, New Hampshire. That's Dave LaRoche's sponsor. Dave LaRoche is working on a gnarly box, and Charles Park will leave the 3 and the 5. The 2 and the 5. Dave LaRoche will take a 5. Park will take a 10. Dave LaRoche will take 6 down. He'll take 7 down. Charles Park will take 2 down. Dave LaRoche will leave the 4. Charles Park will poke the 4. Dave's got a 10 for 15 after 2. And Charles Park will take a 7 for 17 after 2. Dave crosses over, but crosses over a little too much, and he'll mix down 5. Charles Park will take 6 down and split 6. Dave LaRoche, though, will spare that up and make no problem out of that. Charles Park will leave the 2 and the 6. And he'll make it an 8. Let's see if I got the replay. Oh, I did get it. Okay, here we go. Check this out. 1, 7, 10, 6, 9 for Dave LaRoche, and he was all over it. And here's the follow-up, and it's a 2-fill. Charles Park will mix down 7. 1, 2, 4. Dave LaRoche will very lightly tap the head pin. Park spares it up. Runs down all 3. Dave LaRoche will take a 5. See if we can get this shot by Charles Park on the 1, 2, 4. Whiffs it away. But in a good way. A whiff doesn't mean a miss in this case. Poor choice of words by my part. Dave LaRoche on lane 24. 1, 2 pocket. He leaves the 6-10. That looked like it was going to be a strike ball with the way that crossover was working its magic. And that's a split and a 6 drop for Charles Park. Dave LaRoche with a spare. He's got it. Yes, sir. Charles Park still working on it. He had a harder shot. Dave LaRoche has a 42.5 plus a bonus. Charles Park currently 41 after 4. And what a nice 10 box. $51 after 5 for Charles Park. Oops. That was not what I wanted to show you. Here we go. 51 after 5 for Charles Park, 42 and a bonus after 5 for Dave LaRoche is confirmed. 229, 2.5 game total for Charles Park, 255, 2.5 game total for Dave LaRoche. Here's Paul Metivier with a 7 drop. And John Dumais has a 5 drop. Metivier will leave the 6. Dumais will connect with the head pin to the left and get a weird skate. He'll get the 3 and the 7 left down there on the plate. Paul Metivier will take a 10. Dumais will take an 8 for 8 after 1.
2, 7. No winner.
And the mystery pool was 127, and there's no winners. The mystery pool brought to you by Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's a little pool where your first game's total will determine if you're entered into the, your mystery pool number, and it may or may not be your lucky number. Sometimes there's no winners. Sometimes there are winners. There can be many winners. Don't know if you don't play. Play the mystery pool by playing in a league at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. 6 drop and a split for Paul Metivier. The spare attempt is no good. John Dumais' spare attempt is also no good, but both attempts were really good. Good on paper at least, but not in practice. Paul Metivier on the 10 pin. 9 or 10. It'll be a 9. Dumais, he'll take a 10. Paul Metivier 1-2 pocket, he'll drop 7. And John Dumais will mix down 7 as well. 2 ways to get 7, I suppose. Metivier on the triangle, he's got it. And John Dumais, he's got it as well. 2 dueling spares. 2 different ways to get 7 drop spares. In fact, let's look at John Dumais because that was cool. But we'll see Paul Metivier's as part of it all the same. There's John Dumais' split spare as well. Great shots. And Paul Metivier's on the 1-2, and he'll mix down a few. He'll split. He'll split 6. He'll take a 6 fill. John Dumais will take a 7 fill. Paul Metivier wanted to play the wood, but couldn't quite get the action he was looking for. John Dumais got the 4-7-8. John Dumais wants to get the sweep, but he can't quite do it.
That was my happy dance.
I could tell. Metivier will take a 10. And Dumais will take a 10. 45 after 4 for both bowlers. 2 different ways to get the 45 after 4. Paul Metivier has been winning more boxes than John Dumais, 12 to his 6 in the head-to-head department. Metivier will drop 6 so far. John Dumais will split 8. Paul Metivier will spare up the 4 horsemen once again. John Dumais can't quite match. Paul Metivier's got 55 in a bonus after 5. John Dumais will take a 10. 55 after 5 is the score. Both bowlers at 55, and Paul Metivier has an open mark. And Dave LaRoche has an open mark, 42 in a bonus. Charles Park, 51 after 5. That is your score update. At halftime, 238 for Dumais, 295 for Paul Metivier, 229 for Charles Park, and 255 for Dave LaRoche. Coming up here is going to be Dave LaRoche and Charles Park. Starting now. And Charles Park will get a couple pins, 2 to be exact. Dave LaRoche is working on a spare. And he'll thickly hit the head pin and take an 8. Big 18 for Dave LaRoche for a 50 half, and Charles Park still working on it. Dave LaRoche for the spare, he's got it. No problem. Charles Park, he'll take an 8 box. Let's watch Dave LaRoche's spare while we have the time on the 610. Here's Charles Park. And a wonderful strike by Mr. Charles Park. Dave LaRoche on a follow-up on his spare fill, and he'll take another big 18. His second 18 fill in a row. 6-9 for Dave LaRoche, and it could be a layup. And it isn't. Just a little bit too much to the left leaves the 6. And he'll make it a 9. 77 and 7 for Dave LaRoche, and Charles Park has a strike. Why don't we take a look at that strike by Charles Park? If we have the time. Might have to cut it short if he starts firing. Yes. Oh, but for the double, he almost does it again. It was almost like watching the same thing in a row. We'll drop 9. Dave LaRoche will drop 6.
I don't know about their mountain application, but I know Paul's
There's a spare on strike for Charles Park. Loading it up. A big 20 followed by a spare. Dave LaRoche wants to spare his, but can't quite do the same. Where the heck is my second? There we go. Sorry about that. Didn't turn on the other score tower. Dave LaRoche will take a 10 for 87 and 8. Let's watch the single pin spare by Charles Park now. He was happy about that one. You saw the gesture. He was super duper excited about that. Charles Park. It looks like it's going to be a 4 fill. Dave LaRoche off target with a 3 drop. Oh, and that's a 3 poke for Charles Park. And Dave will take all but the 5. No mark. Park will take 6 for 93 and 9. Oops, no, excuse me. Correction on that. 99 and 9. Dave LaRoche will take a 10 for 97 and 9. Yes, that is confirmed. Just wanted to make sure. So it's a tight match. Charles Park has the edge by 2 pins at the moment going into the 10th to Dave LaRoche's 97. And he'll poke the 4 out for a 1 drop. Dave LaRoche on the 1-3, and he'll drop 9. Could have a spare opportunity. Could be a game-winning opportunity. Charles Park, oh, he puts his best foot forward. Leaves the 6th. No mark. Dave LaRoche must mark this. And he does mark it. That's a spare for Dave LaRoche, and that will save the game for him. That'll be a 9 for Charles Park. 108 for Park, 107 for LaRoche, barring no disasters. LaRoche needs to work on this fill to win the game. And there it is. LaRoche will take a 4 fill, have the 6-pack, drink it for victory. That's a 111 game 3 for Dave LaRoche for a 3-game total of 324. 103, 110, 111. Charles Park, 87, 91, and this 3rd game is a 108 for a 3-game total of 286. Currently, Dave LaRoche, 6 points. Coming up next here is Paul Metivier and John Dumais to finish off the 3rd game. Here's John Dumais on the head pin. He'll take 8 out. Paul Metivier. Just to the left of the head pin, and this is on a spare fill. He'll take 8 down. A merciful 8. And John Dumais will clock in with a spare. Oh, and so will Paul Metivier. Sorry about that. I clicked the wrong lane, but both boulders have spares. In fact, let's look at John Dumais' spare, the one that I did catch. Paul Metivier took the 1 and the 10 out. No problem. Here's the follow-up for John Dumais, wasting no time. Takes a 5 on his spare fill. Paul Metivier on the 1-3 pocket, drops 9, fills 9. Dumais wants to punch the cluster, leaves the 6 and the 10. Paul Metivier on the 5. And he's got it. Single pin spare for Paul Metivier. His third mark in a row. John Dumais will take an 8-box, 78 and 7. Paul Metivier on a single pin spare, and he took it. Took it out back and shot it. There it is. There goes the 5. John Dumais will fire first. 1-3 pocket, mixes 5. Paul Metivier in the 1-2 pocket. He'll take a 16. He'll take a big 16 in the 7th. 6 fill. 98 and 7. John Dumais tries to take the bucket of 5 and he leaves the 4. Paul Metivier a little bit too much to the right, takes the 6. No 4th mark in a row. Paul Metivier did have a run of 3 marks in a row this game. John Dumais will take a 10. Paul Metivier will take an 8, or 9, excuse me. 107 Metivier, 88 John Dumais. And John will take 5 out. Cluster of pins on the right side, 1, 2, 1, 3, 6, 10, 9. Paul Metivier on the 1-3 pocket will drop 8. John Dumais, there's a great spare by John Dumais. Paul Metivier is still working on it. Paul Metivier, after missing his mark, will take a 10. He'll miss the second, get the third. That's 117 and 9. Let's look at John Dumais' spare while we have the time here. Look at this, just blows it up. And he was trying to do that in a previous shot, and you can see by that gesture, he's probably like, why didn't this work last time? But it is what it is. That's bowling for you. It's the definition of insanity. Get 2 different results doing the same thing. There's a 6 drop and a 6 split for John Dumais on the head pin. 3, 9, 6, 10. Paul Metivier to the right of the head pin. He'll leave 7. Or take 7. 1, 2, 10 on the plate. It's John Dumais. Oh, he was on the object, but just didn't work. Just didn't work out. Paul Metivier, he's off his optics as well. John Dumais will take a 9 for a 113 game 3 for a 3-game total of 296. Paul Metivier will take a 9 for a 126 for a 3-game total of 366.
All right, BAE League, real quick, December 19th, put it in your notebook. That is going to be our Christmas banquet night. It's still regular bowling, but you're going to stuff your face. The league is buying the chicken tenders, meat lasagna, and meatballs. All we ask is that you add things to it. Bring them in, whether they be desserts, chips, drinks, whatever. I'm going to be passing out a piece of paper as it comes down the lane. Write down what you're going to bring. Hopefully it's a reminder. I'll leave it. But in 2 weeks, we're doing our banquet.
You got all that? The BAE banquet for the BAE League here at Lakeside Lanes Friday night. I hope you do. I hope you got it, because be sure to bring something. Here's Dave LaRoche. Drop 6. Charles Park will drop 3. Dave misses to the right. Charles Park slightly misses the right, but takes a few pins out. LaRoche will take a 10 box out of it. Charles Park will take a 9 box out of it. Charles Park has won 9 boxes head-to-head to Dave LaRoche has won 21 boxes. All the others are ties. 15 headpin shots for Charles Park this evening, 13 headpin shots for Dave LaRoche, 8 splits for Park, 4 for LaRoche. First ball averages 6.6 for Charles Park and 5.9 for Dave LaRoche. as Dave mixes 6 down. Charles Park mixes 5 down. Neither of those shots were headpin shots. Here comes Dave, and he'll mix a few down. And Charles Park is on the object, but he leaves the 2 and the 6 just a little bit too full. Dave will take a 9, 19 after 2. Park, 8 for 17 after 2. Dave on the 1-3 pocket, he'll take 7 down. Charles Park will get a nice mix of 7.
IBA, real quick, I do know of one person that has a dietary restriction, so if there's anyone else, come find me. I'll make sure we're working with you. You still have a good time.
Special announcement. No mark for Dave LaRoche, but Charles Park, oh, and he'll get the wraparound for the spare. Hey, take a cheap one any time. He'll win the box, certainly, and then some. 28 in a bonus for Dave LaRoche with that 9, 27 in a bonus for Charles Park with that spare. Watch this. That piece of wood off the sidewall was reinvigorated, and that was how it went. Like Brian Hebert Sr. says, I'll take a cheap one any day. Here's Dave LaRoche. 6 split. And Charles Park, how about that? A strike on spare. Like I said, take a cheap one because I can get you going. Dave LaRoche hits a working box. And Dave will take a 9 for 37 after 4. Let's watch this strike by Mr. Charles Park once again. Beautiful shot, beautiful execution. That was just overall great. That's how you can get a cheap spare and get a strike on a spare, and to follow that up, go on a run. Here's Dave. Dave LaRoche will take 3 down. Park. He'll take 7 down so far on his strike fill. And Dave, he almost gets the spare. He touches all of them, but he leaves the 5 wiggling. And Park will he get another one? Not quite. So it'll be a big 9 fill for Charles Park. 56 and 4. Dave LaRoche will take a 9 for a 46 half. Charles Park will take a 9 for a 65 half. Here's your score update. It's currently Charles Park with 3.5 game total, a 351 with a 65 half. Dave LaRoche, 370, 3.5 game total with a 46 half. So it is relatively close. It's a difference of 19 in the total for these two bowlers. Paul Metivier currently up by 70 in the total, 366 to John Dumais' 296. Let's see what happens from here. Paul Metivier. Paul Metivier's on 1-3, almost takes them all, and John Dumais is mixing down 6. Metivier, a clean spare on the wood. John Dumais, nothing doing. John. He'll leave 2 pins on deck, but 1 in the 5 for an 8 box. Take a look at the single pin spare for Paul Metivier. I was worried it was heading straight for the gutter. I'm not going to lie, because he has a very strong right to left ball. You see how it went right for it? But anyways, Paul will fill with 5, split 5. John Dumais on the head pin as well. He'll not split. He'll take an 8 drop. 2 and 4. 3, 4, 6, 7, 10 for Paul Metivier. And he tries for the object. Doesn't get much out of it. John Dumais, clean shot on the 2 pins, and he'll take the spare. It's now John Dumais' turn for a mark. 18 and a bonus after 2. Paul Metivier will do the best he can, take 2 sticks and leave 1. 9 box, 24 after 2. Here's John Dumais' shot. That is not John Dumais' shot. Here we go. Look at that. Metivier off to the left. 3 drop. Dumais on a spare fill. He'll take a 4 fill. Metivier's a little bit off to the right. Doesn't get the right to left tail that he usually does. John Dumais, though, does a wonderful job blowing that up. Double spare. 32 and a bonus after 3. Paul Metivier 1, 7, 10, 3, 5. For 10 box, he'll connect with the object pin and take a 7 box for 31 after 3. I want to see this shot by John Dumais again, though. That was a beauty. No question about it. On the outside of the pocket, just ran them all down. Didn't run them all down, just blew them all up, and it was almost instantly. Just a cluster bomb of a shot. There's a 4 drop for Paul Metivier. Dumais on the head pin, he'll take 6. A nice 16. It's the pack of 6 for Paul Metivier now. And the pack of 6, he takes 5 of 6. John Dumais will take 2 of 4 on the accordion. No mark for either bowler here. It'll be Paul Metivier for a 9 or 10 on the 10 pin. He's waiting for a piece of wood to settle. Paul Metivier fires. Paul Metivier misses. Well, he doesn't miss, but he gets deflected. John Dumais will take a 10 for 48 after 4. Paul Metivier is looking at 40 after 4. Here's Paul, 1-3 pocket. And here's John Dumais on the pocket as well. John Dumais drops 8. Paul drops 5. He'll leave 3 on the deck. John Dumais will get deflected. The ball will not come back to take the last 2. Paul Metivier will take a 8 box for 48 and 5. John Dumais will take a 9 box for 57 and 5. 57 for John Dumais and 48 after 5 for Paul Metivier. It's a difference of 9 in the game for John Dumais. And Paul Metivier still up in the total by 61. Charles Park 65 after 5. Dave LaRoche 46 after 5. Dave LaRoche has a total by 19. Charles Park currently has the game by 19. And here is Charles Park. He'll take 5 out so far. Dave LaRoche will poke 3 out. Spread eagle with a talon. Charles Park will poke 1 and leave the other 4 on the plate. Dave LaRoche, almost got a really pretty talon spread eagle for a spare, but leaves the 7. Charles Park will take a 6, 71 and 6. Dave LaRoche will take a 10 for 56 and 6. Charles Park will take 4 down. Dave LaRoche is on the head pin. He'll take 6 down. Charles Park for the spare. Come on. 5 pin. It won't go. Dave LaRoche just a little bit full on his target. Charles Park had a great spare ball. It just, the 5 pin just didn't decide to go. He'll take a 10 box as a consolation for 81 after 7. Dave LaRoche will take a 9 for 65 after 7. Charles Park will split 6. And Dave will take 6, but it wasn't on the head pin. Charles Park will poke the 4. And that's it. Dave LaRoche has the left side 4 horsemen, and he'll miss everything. Charles Park will take a 7. Dave LaRoche will take a 10 box, what could have been a spare. Ends up being a 10 for 75 and 8 for Dave LaRoche. It's 88 and 8 for Charles Park. Charles Park currently in a winning position, up by 13 in the game with 2 boxes to go. Charles Park on the head pin again. He'll split 6, and I know he's I know I would be just as frustrated with the amount of splits he's getting despite the head pin hits. Dave LaRoche will also split. He'll leave the 5-6. Charles Park has the 2, 4, 6, 7. He'll take the 4 and the 7 out and leave the 2 and the 6. Dave LaRoche, 5-6 with wood. Cap the left side of the wood for your best chance. Dave LaRoche will hit it full. Charles Park will take an 8, 96 and 9. Dave LaRoche will win the box, 85 and 9. Here's Charles Park, 1-2. Oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. That shot was just brutal. A 4 drop and a split on the head pin. You got to be just that's just not fair. Dave LaRoche will drop 3. Park still chopping wood down there, but he is in good positioning to take the 3rd game, barring no marks here from Dave LaRoche, and I think it's still looking good. Park will take a 7 for a 103. That should seal the deal. Dave LaRoche will take a 9 box for a 94. So Charles Park does get 2 points out of the deal. Charles Park has a 4-game total of 389 with that 103. He threw an 87, a 91, a 108, and a 103. Has 2 points right now. Dave LaRoche, 103, 110, 111, and 94 for a 4-game total of 418. Here's John Dumais. He'll take 7. Paul Metivier will take 6. Both bowlers on the head pin. John Dumais got a split. 5, 6, 10 for John Dumais. Connects with a 5, but couldn't do much with it. Leaves the 6 and the 10. Paul Metivier, he'll spare that up. No problem. And John Dumais will take an 8 for 65 and 6. And Paul Metivier is 58 in the bonus in 6. Look at this shot by Paul Metivier. John Dumais is off to the left of the head pin, but he'll take 7 out. Paul Metivier, ooh, he didn't hit the head pin, but he got 9 pins out of it. A big 19. John Dumais misses the head pin off to the left. Paul Metivier finds himself with another single pin spare opportunity with wood. It's the 10 pin, laterally, across some wood. Oops. But he missed it. Sorry, I clicked the wrong camera, but he got a deflection of wood and something just didn't happen there. And John Dumais will take a 7. 72 and it's 7. Paul Metivier catching some heat for missing that. Broadside of a barn there. See, there's the shot. 77 and 7 for Paul Metivier. It's some roaring applause for his 10 box for his efforts. Paul Metivier leads by 5 in the game to John Dumais 72 as of the 7th frame. Here's John Dumais missing the head pin, but he'll make 6 down. And here's Paul Metivier. Head pin shot, and there's a strike. Could have been so much more had he got that previous single, but oh well. John Dumais looking to clean his up, and the 7 pin just doesn't go. A valiant try for sure for John Dumais, and he'll take a 9. 81 and 8. For John Dumais, let's look at Paul Metivier's strike once again. That he just threw, and it could have been a strike on spare on a single gimme that he gacked on the second ball. It is 87 and a bonus in the 8th for Paul Metivier and 81 after 8 for John Dumais. John Dumais is just doing a lane clear. Oh, we have some time. I want you to check out candlepin.org if you're new to Candlepin bowling and don't know quite what this is, or you want to try it out and you live in New England. Do check out candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. Plenty of centers around New England, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine, Rhode Island, and also in Canada. Might I recommend Fairlanes in Moncton, New Brunswick? Great place. Bowled a lot of games there just recently. Myself and John Dumais did, at least, for both Worlds bowlers that went there. It's a 4 drop and a split for John Dumais, and that's a 4 drop so far for Paul Metivier. John Dumais on a gnarly split. He takes a few more out. 4, 5, 7, 10. Paul Metivier will poke another out. That's a 5 fill on the strike for 92 and 8. John Dumais will take an 8 box for 89 and 9. Paul Metivier, 8 box, 100 in 9. Here's John Dumais. It's another 4 drop on the first ball. Paul Metivier will take 8 out. A quick 8. John on the object pin dances around the side wall, leaves the 3, the 8, and the 9. Paul Metivier's got the 4 and the 8 coming up for a spare. Paul Metivier tries to play the wooden sweep, but nothing doing. I would have played direct. John Dumais will take a pretty looking 9 box for a 98 4th game. 394. And then that 9 box for Paul Metivier will put him at 109 for a 4-game total of 475 for Paul Metivier and a 4-game total of 394 for John Dumais. Charles Park sits at 389 after 4. Dave LaRoche 418 after 4. Currently Paul Metivier has 8 points. Dave LaRoche has 6 and Charles Park has 2. John Dumais currently still working on finding some points. But we're off to the next game here. The 5th and final game, that is. Here on the ACST. Bear with me one moment as I just prepare the scoreboard here. Here we are. Here's Dave LaRoche. And Dave LaRoche will poke a few out. 3 out to be exact. Charles Park will miss the head pin, but he'll mix down 5. Arguably have a better leave than Dave LaRoche for his efforts. Dave sails through the ocean. Double strike in a different universe. Charles Park misses the object to the left, takes a few out, leaves 3. Leaves the 1, the 3, and the 4. Dave LaRoche on the retry. He'll take 1 out, and that's going to be a gnarly 4 box for Dave on the first box. Charles Park with an 8 box, doubling Dave's output. Charles Park's 113 boxes. Dave LaRoche has 126 boxes. And 20 head pin shots for Charles Park, 19 for Dave LaRoche, 11 splits for Park, 9 for LaRoche, 7.4 first ball average for Charles Park, 5.9 first ball average for Dave LaRoche. That's a 4 drop for Dave LaRoche so far. And Charles Park will hammer it out for a strike. Dave LaRoche, he's still working on it. We'll get a replay of Charles Park's strike in just a moment here. Dave, yikes, that'll be a 6 box for Dave for 10 after 2. Here's Charles Park's strike. Look at this, 1-2 pocket, beautiful ball. Charles Park taking advantage early. Dave, 1-3 pocket. There's a head pin shot and a 7 drop. It's the 4 triangle. Charles Park on the nose, a little bit too much on the nose. He'll split 6 so far in his strike fill. Dave LaRoche, there's a spare. Oops. And that'll be a 7 fill for Charles Park. 25 after 2 for Park. And a spare for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park will take a 7 for 32 after 3, and it's 20 and a bonus after 3 for Dave LaRoche. Here's Dave LaRoche on the triangle fill, or triangle spare, that is. And he had it. Here's Dave. He'll mix 5 down and fill with 5. Charles Park will poke 2 out, half Worcester right side. Dave LaRoche misses the object pin, leaves the 1 and the 10. Charles Park sails into the ocean, into the same void where the first ball went for the half Worcester. Dave LaRoche will take an 8 box for 33 after 4. Charles Park, oh no, the ball goes into the hole again, and oh my goodness, I know that frustration. That's a rough one. 34 after 4 for Charles Park, and 33 after 4 for Dave LaRoche. That one is rough. I know that feeling. There's no, it's hard feelings all around whenever that happens. It's just rough, but it's still a difference of 1 between the 2 bowlers head to head, believe it or not. Dave LaRoche will take 5 out. And Park, oh, and a quarter Worcester for Park. This is just torture down there right now, and it's not really his fault either. 5 down for Dave LaRoche, clear left side. Dave will take the sleeper out, 1, 2, 4, 7. Park on the head pin there on the pocket shot, 4, 5, 7, 10. Just not great leaves overall. Dave LaRoche is just looking to pin out of this 4 horsemen with a 10. He's got it for 43 after 5. Charles Park will take a 6 for 40 after 5. And here's your score update of the half. I already showed you it, but it's okay. 40 after 5 for Charles Park, 43 after 5 for Dave LaRoche. They both had rough halves in their own different ways, I got to tell you. But it's a difference of 3 in the game. It's still competitive between the 2 of them. And 32 plus 32 for Dave LaRoche, and the total 461 to Charles Park's 429. Here's Paul Metivier. And he'll punch 5 out and split out 5. John Dumais will take 7 down, missing that bin. Paul Metivier will punch the 6 and leave only the 6. John Dumais, there's a spare for John Dumais. John Dumais becomes a John Do Will. I'll be here all week, folks. That's an 8 box for Paul Metivier. That's a spare for John Dumais. Let's look at John Dumais' spare again. Runs him down. 4 horsemen minus the 4. Metivier. 1-3 pocket. Drops 8 with a split. John Dumais with a 9 drop so far. You're wrecking the place. Paul Metivier with a spare on the single. And John Dumais with a respectful spare on a spare. Both bowlers on marks. And Paul Metivier will take 2. John Dumais will take a strike. John Dumais, how's that for revenge right there? John Dumais clocking in, cracking 10. There's a 2 fill for Paul Metivier so far. He'll take a few more out. John Dumais at 49 after 3 plus a bonus. Paul Metivier 20 after 2 with that 2 fill. He's just trying to get out of this box with dignity, and he largely will. It looks like it's going to be a 9 box for 29 after 3 for Paul Metivier. I have a bit of a haphazard replay for John Dumais because I changed cameras mid-shot, but watch this. Look at that. Beautiful strike by John Dumais. Paul Metivier 1-3 pocket, elegant ball, drops 9. John Dumais for the double, come on, and he'll leave the 8 and the 10. Paul Metivier, he's got a single pin spare with the help of some wood. John Dumais will poke 1 and leave the other. And that's going to be a 9 fill for John Dumais. And he'll take a 10. That's 68 after 4 for John Dumais and 39 to bonus after 4 for Paul Metivier. Want to see that single pin spare shot again for Paul Metivier. Nicely done. A dink and doink. Here's Paul. 5 fill. John Dumais. Oh, a strike for John Dumais. Cracks another 10 open. Paul Metivier on a Caleri and a 5 fill. Can't quite get the spare. John Dumais got a 78 half. Holy moly, that is quietly brilliant. That snuck up on definitely all of us. That's a perfect half, by the way, for John Dumais. There's an 8 box for Paul Metivier. That'll put him at 52 after 5.
Come this way so everybody else can fill it out.
So John Dumais, 78 in a bonus after 5, 52 after 5 for Paul Metivier. That's your current score update. Here's Charles Park and Dave LaRoche next. Charles Park will poke 1 on the 6. And here's Dave. The pocket. 7 split. Charles Park on the follow-up ball, much better ball, leaves the 5 and the 9. And Dave, he'll just sail through the ocean and take a piece of wood with him. Charles Park will take a nice 10 box for 50 after 6. Dave LaRoche will take a 9 for 52 after 6. Talking a little about John Dumais and Paul Metivier. John Dumais has won 16 boxes. Paul Metivier has won 20. First ball averages 6.3 Paul Metivier, 6.5 John Dumais, so it's pretty well evenly matched. Charles Park will take 8 down. Not on the head pin. Dave LaRoche will take 3 down. And for the spare shot, Charles Park misses the head pin. Dave LaRoche is on the pocket, but lightly leaves the accordion 5, 6, 9, 10. It's the head pin, orange pin for Charles Park for a 10 box now. He fires upon it. He'll take it for a 10 box, 60 and 7. Dave LaRoche will take a 10 box, a nice 10 box for 62 after 7. Every bowler has at least 2 strikes, but Charles Park has 4. So Charles Park currently the leader in strikes. And he'll drop 7 there. Dave LaRoche will take a few out. 5 to be exact. Charles Park spares it up. Dave LaRoche punches full. It's the 2, the 4, and the 9 for Dave LaRoche. Here in this, oh, but a nice 10 box for Dave LaRoche. Well done for all of our bowlers. Charles Park currently 70 to bonus in the 8th, 72 after 8 for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park in an advantageous position right now. Charles Park is on the pocket. That was a beautiful ball. He'll split 8. 5 and 10. Dave LaRoche will miss the pocket. He'll drop 4. Charles Park in the 5-10. Sparing this would be nice, and it is nice. Charles Park with a double spare. Clutch here in the end. Dave LaRoche almost spares his, but leaves the 4. Charles Park and Dave LaRoche are only within about a mark or 2 in the total. So if Charles Park can pull this off, he could take 6 points out from under Dave here. Dave LaRoche will miss that for a 9. So it's update. It's currently plus 22 for Dave LaRoche, 499 to Charles Park's 477. We'll see what happens here. Charles Park's on the head pin. Oh, and he drops 9 and fills 9. That's a big 19 for Charles Park. Dave LaRoche will take 5 out. It's now a difference of 13. Charles Park can mark this. He's in the money, I think. He'll spare it up, his 3rd mark in a row. Let's see what happens here. Dave LaRoche really should mark this to keep pace, and he won't, unfortunately. We'll see what this shakes out to in just a moment in the differences. Once I get this box data in. That'll be a 10 box for Dave LaRoche. Dave LaRoche currently up by plus 13. And so, yes, it can become a difference of 3 in the margin for the total, but Dave LaRoche is going to hold on to it. I knew it was going to be close, but I wasn't sure how close. Charles Park made a valiant effort at getting as close as he possibly could. Charles Park, that will do it. It already did it, but, you know, that's a 3 fill for Charles Park. A 110. 5th game for Charles Park. That's a 5-game total of 499 for Charles Park with that 110. An 87, 91, 108, 103, and 110 for Charles Park. Dave LaRoche, 103, 110, 111, 94, 91 for a 5-game total of 509. It's going to be a 10. Oh, sorry, I'll give that to you in just a second. Anyways, back to the action real quick, because I know John Dumais is ready to fire. Charles Park will take 4 points. Dave LaRoche will take 10. There's a 5 opening drop for John Dumais. Paul Metivier will take down 3. This is for a strike fill for John Dumais. And it's going to be a 5 fill. Paul Metivier He'll spare up that mess, though, from that 3-drop to a spare. And that will be a 5-box for John Dumais. Looks like a Paul Metivier's spare, because even I was surprised it went. Look at that. All over the cluster of pins, and the 6-pin fell last. Here's John Dumais. He'll punch 2. Half Worcester. Paul Metivier will take 3 out. He'll fill with 3. John Dumais will take some off the left half. Paul Metivier for the spare. Oh, he almost does it again. Leaves the 4. These miracle balls. And that's an 8-box for John Dumais for 96 and 7. Paul Metivier looking to get a 10-box. He'll take a 9 for 74 after 7. John Dumais, oh, and there's a strike. Another one for John Dumais. That's 3 strikes in this one game for John Dumais. And 5 marks overall in this game. Paul Metivier, though, he'll run down the 4 horsemen for a spare. (106 to 84 as of the 8th. John Dumais on a strike, Paul Metivier on the spare. There's a 4-drop for John Dumais. I mean a 6-drop, excuse me. 4 pins standing up. And oof. It's a 4 fill for Paul Metivier, 88 and 8. And that will be a 6 fill overall for John Dumais. John Dumais will clean up for what looks to be a 9. 121 and 9. Paul Metivier will take a 10 for 98 and 9. John Dumais having a standout game here. But John Dumais is fighting for points as of right now. It looks like he's going to walk out of here with about 4, my estimation. He'll drop 5. Paul Metivier, a bit of an oddball there, drops 4. Dumais, a little bit off, leaves the 1 and the 8. Final mark attempt of the night. Paul Metivier will loosely hit the pocket, and he'll get some pins from the splashback of the wood and leave the 6 and the 9. John Dumais will take an 8. And Paul Metivier will take a 9. 129 and 107, those scores are confirmed. Okay. That's ball game, folks. That's Paul Metivier with a 582 5-game series, a 130, a 110, a 126, a 109, a 107. John Dumais with a 523 5-game series with a 94, 89, 113, 98, and 129. John Dumais will walk out of here today with 2 points, and Paul Metivier will come out with 12. And let me show you the point distribution by the end of this all. So it is going to be Charles Park with 4 points, Dave LaRoche with 10, John Dumais with 2, and Paul Metivier with 12. So our home bowlers triumph this evening. Paul Metivier 12 points, Dave LaRoche 10. And that's basically how it went. In terms of the strikes department, holy moly. John Dumais had 3 strikes all in the 5th game and 9 spares. Paul Metivier leading the pack with the spares, 16, and all the other bowlers had at least 2 spares, but Charles Park had 4. 16 spares for Paul Metivier, 8 spares for Dave LaRoche. Charles Park with 7 spares, John Dumais with 9. First ball averages, it was actually Charles Park who was in the lead with 7.2 on the first ball. That's crazy. And then 6.1 tied between John Dumais and Paul Metivier, 5.5 first ball average for Dave LaRoche. If we look at the fill averages, it was Charles Park ahead with a 7.2 fill average for each mark. totaling 79 in bonus pins. Dave LaRoche at 58. Paul Metivier, Paul Metivier totaling the most of 111, averaging 6.2 per mark. John Dumais totaling 78, averaging 6.5 per mark. Show you some graphs if you're into graphs and stuff. The first ball averages was really interesting, just kind of up and down roller coaster for a lot of folks. John Dumais taking advantage towards the end. Paul Metivier up in the lead in the middle and then kind of trending downward a little bit. And then the box winners, it was mostly just the Dave LaRoche show for the most part, but box winners doesn't necessarily mean total victory. It's just an interesting secondary stat. So anyways, that's here's your final scores once again. And it's been a great match, this doubleheader this evening. So folks, it's been great broadcasting this to you. Do check all these other lovely socials. I'm on 3Ball Spare on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, and Reddit. There is the Atlantic Candlepin Single Store page on Facebook, of course. Do subscribe to that for your ACST Central hub. There's also Candlepin Corner. There's at Candlepin Bowling on TikTok. There's Candlepin Bowling Network on YouTube and Instagram. We also have Candlepin Chat. That's a group on Facebook for discussions, tournaments, general info, and be in the know about a bunch of stuff. And a couple other links here for some video content, podcast content, all that other kinds of stuff. Several podcasts, several individual bowlers that also contribute their own content in their own ways on YouTube, TikTok, etc. Also, do check out the charity candlepins4cancer.com, Candlepins for Cancer, run by Al Johnson and Paul Grant. Great charity for a great cause. Do check it out for donations as well as the bowling tournaments that they host. So anyways, folks, that should just about do it for us here at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. I've been Steve Kelly, and I hope you have a wonderful evening or whenever it is you're watching this, and we'll see you at the next Atlantic Candlepin Single Store match. Have a great one, everyone.